I'm drinking White Claw because I'm soft, like the Panthers defense. Panthers, people, what up? It's safe to say the beef between the Bears and the Panthers is over. You won. Going on watch your Panthers post. Well, I'm not really calling this the Bryce Young, Caleb Williams / Andy Dalton Bowl. This is the Scott Fitterer put us in serious roster purgatory bowl because it was blatantly clear. Everything that he did leading up to today just showed up on the field, on Soldier Field, on a beautiful day in Chicago, which I think is the Midwest. But just everything from the fact that DJ Moore is playing for the other team, over 100 yards receiving on our guy, J.C. Horn. There was a couple of communication errors there. Caleb Williams was playing for the Bears and not us. Bryce Young wasn't even starting. Brian Burns not even on our team. And not only that Derek Brown is hurt, but there's absolutely no depth behind him. And we had to build our defense from scratch again this year. And it was such a bad situation built by Scott Fitterer. Mind you, Dan Morgan was his assistant GM. That Frankie Louva wanted out. We offered Frankie money. He wanted out. He's in Washington. That's a good decision on him. Again, letting go of DJ Moore, meaning you had to get rid of Dante Jackson, which brought in Deontay Johnson, who is still good, but just rough stuff. Mind you, at the end of it, we still got Robert Hart and Damian Lewis, but today the offensive line got absolutely mollywopped in this 36-10 win. So it's safe to say that this beef between the Bears and the Panthers is over. I don't even know why it started to begin with. We gave you guys everything. That is evident today. And you got Caleb Williams. You got your quarterback. He got his get-right game. This is probably his best game as a pro thus far. 2 scores, 296 yards, 2 scores, and 34 yards rushing. It looked like he had a touchdown, but there was a penalty there. But you guys got everything. I don't even know why you guys started beefing to begin with. Maybe it's just clowning, but it almost looked like a beef. Y'all like hated us for giving you what you wanted, which made me wonder what was going on. I thought maybe you guys were nervous, but clearly you don't have to be, especially if you're taking on our defense right now, which is made out of Swiss cheese and some lint and a used kid's bicycle. But it was tough to watch, and you could blame the offense by not executing in moments where you had chances, but at some point the defense got to stop somebody, and I looked at the rushing numbers. Like Chuba Hubbard, I thought they were going to run him to the ground, be stubborn with the run. 19 rushes. One of them was Andy Dalton. One of them was Bryce Young, came in relief in garbage time. Like the Bears, who were winning, rushed almost 40 times. And it looks like every time, and this is whether it's Dave Canales or it's Matt Rule, when you start getting behind, you start abandoning the run. Don't abandon the run. At least eat the clock. And if you're eating the clock, you're not letting the other offense get on the field. And it seems like we abandoned the run and just had Andy Dalton chuck it 28 times, which is not the worst. Caleb Williams did it 29 times, but he did a lot more success than Andy Dalton did. 136 yards and 1 interception and 2 fumbles. Obviously, that as well. The amount of turnovers, you cannot win any game. Doesn't matter who you're playing, and try to come up with the dub. But at one point, there was a time in the game where everybody was dropping like flies. Xavier Leggett went down with a shoulder injury. He said he's going to be okay. Jadeveon Clowney out. He says he's going to be okay for next week against the Falcons at home. Austin Corbett said he heard a pop, or at least that's what Carolina Blitz was reporting, that they thought they heard him say that he heard a pop in his bicep. He's getting an MRI tomorrow. His arm was in a sling. That's not great because he's been awesome as a center. You're basically just down to Tate Johnson, and that was it. Tommy Tremble got knocked out with a concussion in a big way. That also resulted in a fumble and an eventual score. So the offense was basically just the way it was last year. Like, instead of Adam Thielen being like the only capable guy, you had Tate Johnson and you had Jonathan Mingo, who, again, still refined. I would still say he is like a wide receiver number 4 on this team. But the offense was decimated on the skill position players, the offensive line, up against an actual like stud defense, which is the top 10 defense in the league right now. And that's why I said in the preview that this could potentially be a shootout. Our offense is our strength. Their defense is their strength, but our offense has kind of been clicking, finding a groove. Number 1 offensive line, according to PFF, so I thought maybe they could be up for the challenge. But the weak spot is going to be our defense and their offense, which was also struggling, even though they had a pretty good game last week leading up to this one. They would score points. I thought our offense would still be able to score points, but you're not going to be able to do that if Tommy Tremble is out, if Xavier Leggett is out, if Austin Corbett is injured, not playing well. And then abandoning the run because your defense is giving up crazy amounts of points. Like, it was at one point kind of just, it felt like just like clockwork. Like, it was almost expected they were going to score a touchdown. Like, it did feel good Like, it felt good. That first pass, like the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, Caleb Williams' first pass of the game could have been, if Keenan Allen didn't have four fingers on the ball, a pick six for J.C. Horn. Like, that guy has had a sneaky good year if it wasn't for stupid PI calls and ejection today. Like, he's going to have a sneaky good year. The strip fumble return, which could have been a strip of Jamar Chase. Like, other teams are getting that call, forward progress. They're just gaining extra yards, and they get punished for it. Unless when you're playing the Panthers, you don't get punished for it. But yeah, he could have had a really good year. He could be statistically having a really good year. Like, he's still been exposed at times, but there are moments that he definitely could have put his name as potentially, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But man, he had that pick dead. He had that ball dead to rights, going straight to the house. Nobody was in front of him, but alas, that didn't happen. Chuba Hubbard scored a 38-yard run. That was tied for a career high for him. I was excited about that. I said that in the last video. Book it, bet it. Chuba Hubbard, first touchdown score of the game. I didn't do it myself. I forgot to do it. That could have got you some pretty good cash. But at that point, I thought, okay, Panthers are rolling right now. Then the defense went on. Again, no Josie Jewell, no Shaq Thompson, no Derek Brown. Brian Burns playing for the Giants. Nobody. Absolutely, it's scrubs. Like, right now on the defense, it's Trevin Wallace, who's doing an admirable job, led the team with tackles, 15 tackles, 10 solo. And then you got Claudin Cherilus, who has not started many games ever. And then after that, it was just gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. No more than DJ Moore and the other wide receivers crossing up our DBs. Miscommunication, touchdown. DJ Moore of 100 yards rush receiving yet again. DJ Moore, another 30-yard bomb from Caleb Williams. They could do whatever they want on their defense. Like, it was just comical. And I think in necessary bluntness, Aaron said it perfectly, saying that, the defensive line is just out there for cardio right now. Like, there is no depth on this team left for Dan Morgan and company to work with anything. There's nothing that they can do. Yannick Ngakoue tried out for the team, didn't make it. He's somewhere else, I think, with the Ravens. But the defense is beat up. And anyone out there who thinks that, obviously it looks great seeing Jalen Milroe do his thing, seeing Cam Moore do their thing. Those guys can be top 10 picks. I thought maybe Jalen Milroe could be a second-round pick, but he had his Georgia game. They messed up against Vanderbilt. Shout out to Vandy. But these guys are going to be top 10 picks. And I don't think the Panthers should be in the strategy of getting another quarterback and foregoing a blue-chip players on defense. And a couple of scouts there that I've talked to, the national guys, saying that this is a meat and potatoes draft. This is not a quarterback draft. They could be good, but this is a draft where you beef up your offensive, defensive line, your linebackers, your corners, your safeties. That's what you do. And I think Andy, he had a bad game. It was going to come back down to earth at some point. I thought he was doing things that is sustainable. But again, they were the whole offense put in a situation where they had to score points every single time, and it wasn't happening, and you were losing weapons every single drive. And your offensive line had arguably their worst game of the year thus far. Andy Dalton got smacked a couple of times in this game. How many times was he sacked? 3 sacks, losing 20 yards, so not the worst. But yeah, it was tough. We're not a quarterback away, not even close. And so you better get used to Andy Dalton. Because I don't think Bryce Young is going to do anything. I think he had one scramble to find Jalen Coker, who led the team with receiving yards, 4 for 68. But again, Bryce Young flustered in the pocket, got sacked, and the fourth down, not great. So I see Bryce staying on the team as only a developmental guy. If they're going to draft a quarterback later in the rounds next year, it's almost for nothing because they're probably not going to be franchise guys anyways. It seems like Andy Dalton and Bryce are going to be the guys. Keep Andy Dalton, pay him. He's not making $50 million, but pay him like $10 million a year, something like that, to be our bridge guy. Keep Bryce there to develop. Maybe he grows a backbone. Maybe he gets tougher and can read a defense better by that point. But you need to build this defense because, wow, it's a liability. Like, I thought they'd put up a little bit of a fight after getting embarrassed with a lack of proper tackling against Cincinnati Bengals in a game that I thought the Panthers could have won. This game, it wasn't even a chance. It's almost like they were down because they lost Shaq and Josie in that game. You had replacement guys at linebacker. Even Jonathan Vilma, who's a great linebacker in his time, said that these linebackers got to step up and stop the run. It just wasn't happening. Like DeAndre Swift, 73 yards and 47 yards receiving. Not as good as his performance last week, but still, you could do whatever you want on this defense. And, Dane Jackson can't come back soon enough. DJ Wanham hasn't even played a gosh darn snap for this team. J.C. Horns are kind of left on an island right now. That first touchdown was just a lack of communication and lack of chemistry with each other. But defensively, they're looking at what they had to offer, and it's been not much right now in terms of depth, in terms of starter. It needs an overhaul. It needs multiple drafts. So let me know how you guys feel. Comments down below. If you love the way my kid sings, also comment below. Maybe I'll make him a CD. See you guys soon. Comments tomorrow. Comments and coffee. Tune in.